Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hit the like button, share your thoughts, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. She said she was my sister. Woke up to a soft, dripping sound. Drip, drip, drip. Something cold splashed against her forehead. She blinked, but everything was pitch black. Her mouth was dry, her tongue thick like it was stuffed with cotton. She couldn't move her arms, her legs felt twisted under her. Her head throbbed with pressure like she'd been hanging upside down for hours. She jerked forward and felt the tight pull of rope around her wrists. Panic set in instantly. She wasn't in her bed. The air was heavy, thick with the smell of rotten iron. Blood. That was the smell. She'd never smelled it this strong before, but her body recognized it. A dim bulb buzzed above her and flickered on, casting weak yellow light around the small room. Her eyes adjusted slowly. What she saw made her scream. The entire ceiling above her was covered in photographs, hundreds of them pinned and taped together in a horrible, chaotic collage. All of them were of her. Riley sleeping, Riley brushing her teeth, Riley sitting on her bed, Riley eating cereal, Riley walking home from work. Some were new, some were old, some she didn't even remember happening. Where am I? She choked. Her voice echoed. Her heart hammered against her chest like it wanted out. She tried to stand, but she was tied to a wooden chair bolted to the floor. Thick rope cut into her wrists and ankles. Her fingers were going numb. Something moved in the shadows behind her. She froze. Footsteps. Light. Footsteps, barefoot. Careful. Then a voice. You woke up too soon, the woman said softly. Riley twisted her head. A figure stepped forward, half lit by the flickering bulb. The woman was familiar. Too familiar. Riley's breath caught in her throat. She was looking at herself. Same face, same green eyes, same little scar above the right eyebrow, from when she fell off her bike at 8. But there was something wrong. The woman's skin was pale, almost grayish. Her hair looked like it hadn't been washed in weeks. Her smile was wide, too wide, like she didn't understand how real people smiled. Riley's voice trembled. Who are you? The woman stepped closer and tilted her head. I'm your sister. No, I don't have a sister. A shadow of pain crossed the woman's face. Then she smiled again, softer. She reached into her back pocket and placed something in Riley's lap. A photograph. It was old and faded. The edges curled. Two little girls in matching yellow dresses stood in front of a white house. One of them was unmistakably Riley at around 5 years old. The other girl was holding her hand. She looked like the woman standing in front of her. That's not real, Riley said. This is photoshopped. It has to be. You don't remember me, the woman whispered. They made sure of that. Who did? She ignored the question. Instead, she turned toward the far wall, where dozens of jars lined a wooden shelf. Inside them floated strange objects. Clumps of hair, cloudy eyeballs, tiny teeth, shriveled fingers. Each jar had a label written in red marker. Mom, Dad, Liam, and one that said simply, Riley Original. No, Riley whispered, her chest tightening. What is this place? The woman picked up one of the jars, the one labeled Dad, and stared into it lovingly. This is home, she said. Riley couldn't breathe. You killed them. They tried to kill me first, the woman said calmly. They locked me in the attic, fed me through a slot in the door. I was the mistake, the bad one. Riley was shaking now. Her knees knocked against each other under the chair. I don't remember any of this. You wouldn't, the woman said. You were little, and they made you forget. Therapy, hypnotists, pills, anything to bury me. You're insane. Probably, she whispered. Then she reached toward another wall and flicked on an old projector. Grainy home video footage filled the wall across from Riley. It was a birthday party. Little Riley was blowing out candles. Her parents were clapping, and just in the corner of the frame, barely visible, a little girl stood alone, not clapping, just staring. The woman looked at the screen and whispered, They told me to stay out of the pictures. They said I ruined them. The screen went black. Riley felt cold tears slide down her cheeks. Please, let me go. I don't know what this is, or who you are, but this is sick. I don't even remember you. The woman smiled. That's okay, you will. She walked behind Riley, out of view. Riley heard the sound of chains dragging across the floor then, whispering. Soft, hundreds of voices whispering her name. Riley, Riley. She blinked through tears. Something moved in the shadows along the edges of the room. More eyes, not just the woman's. Others. Figures began to crawl out of the darkness, crawling on all fours. twitching, dragging limbs. Their eyes were bright white. Some were missing skin. Some had nails through their cheeks or stitches across their mouths. One of them hissed. Another laughed. One crawled up beside her and whispered, "You took her life." Riley screamed. The woman stepped back into view, holding something in her hands. Riley's journal, her private thoughts, her dreams, her fears, her heartbreak over her parents' car accident, her breakdown after Liam cheated on her and then came back. "You've had such a perfect life," the woman said. "It must be so hard, having no one to share it with." Riley sobbed. "Why are you doing this to me?" The woman leaned close, until their foreheads nearly touched. "Because I'm taking it back." Then she pulled something from behind her back. A mask. It was Riley's face. A silicone mask, perfect in every detail. She held it gently, like a sacred thing. "I've been watching you for years, studying you, becoming you." She turned and walked to the door. "You'll stay here now, with the forgotten ones. The ones who made me, the ones who erased me." The creatures in the dark started moving closer. The ropes dug into Riley's wrists as she screamed and thrashed. The woman put the mask on, adjusted it, and smiled. She looked exactly like Riley now. A perfect match. She waved from the doorway and said, softly, "They'll never know the difference." Then she walked out and locked the door behind her. The light above Riley shattered, and in the pitch black, the whispers rose like a tide. "Riley, welcome home." The ones they forgot really didn't remember screaming. She just remembered the sound of her own voice ripping through the dark, followed by the snapping of ropes as her wrists bled and her legs kicked wildly against the floor. The light above her was shattered. The room had turned black dot, and the whispers, they were closer now, circling her, breathing her name like a curse. "Riley." Really, something brushed past her ankle. Then another thing scurried by her ear. She clenched her jaw, trying not to sob. She couldn't see them, but she could feel them. The forgotten ones, the things the woman had mentioned, the others that had been left behind. Riley twisted, jerking one arm until something tore in her shoulder. Pain flashed up her neck, but the rope loosened slightly. She used her body weight and yanked hard again. Her wrist slid through. Skin scraped off. Blood ran down her fingers, but she was free. One hand, then the other. She didn't stop to think. She threw herself off the chair and crawled blindly across the slick floor. One arm dragging limply, her knees raw and slipping in something thick and sticky. Her hand hit a wall. She felt along it, cold stone, no windows, just concrete. And somewhere, to the left, a door. She scrambled toward it, slamming her body into it. Locked, of course, behind her. Something giggled. Another voice whispered, "You're not the first to try." Then came a loud thud, like something heavy had dropped from the ceiling. Riley screamed and turned. Two white eyes blinked open in the dark, hanging from a support beam like a spider. The figure dropped silently and landed behind her. She ran. No plan, no weapon, no light, just instinct. She found another wall, followed it by touch, her hands running over cold pipes and hooks. Then her fingers brushed something sharp, a broken glass bottle, half submerged in grime. She grabbed it, held it out like a knife. Another voice from the dark, "You'll need more than that." She turned and slashed wildly at the air. Something hissed and backed away. She felt it in her gut. They weren't allowed to kill her. Not yet. Not without her sister's permission. She was meant to rot down here too. Become one of them. Just like they did. Meanwhile, upstairs, sunlight bled softly through the curtains of Riley's apartment. Her imposter sat at the kitchen table, sipping coffee, flipping through Riley's journal. She smiled as she read entries aloud. April 3rd. Liam kissed me again, even though I told him we were done. I hate that I didn't stop him. She laughed quietly and closed the book. Then she turned to the mirror and smiled at herself, Riley's face staring back. She was perfect now, down to the scars, the voice, the handwriting, and no one would ever know. Back underground. Riley had stopped bleeding, but her arm felt useless. She sat in the corner, holding the broken bottle to her chest like a shield. The whispers had faded for now. The things in the dark had gone quiet, but not gone. They were watching, waiting. She didn't know how much time had passed. Hours maybe, could have been more. She thought of Liam. Of her friends, her job, her life, and a terrible thought sank in. They wouldn't even notice. Her imposter had been watching for years. She knew everything, enough to pass, enough to pretend. How Long before Riley was just a bad dream someone barely remembered. Footsteps echoed from somewhere above. Her eyes snapped open. Voices. Real ones. She stood up and banged on the ceiling, screaming, "Help, I'm down here. Please." A scraping noise answered, then silence, then whisper, soft right behind her ear. "You shouldn't have done that." Something cold gripped her leg and yanked her backward into the dark. She screamed as her head slammed the floor and stars exploded behind her eyes. When she came to, she was in a different room, smaller, lit with a single bulb again, but this one had walls made of mirrors. All four sides reflected her, bruised, bloody, broken. But not just her. Behind each reflection stood someone else, versions of her, some young, some old, some with gaping mouths, some with slit throats, one with no eyes, another with a noose around her neck. They didn't move like real reflections, they stared at her. Some twitched, some grinned. One mouthed the words, "You'll be us soon." Riley backed into the center of the room and collapsed to her knees. And then, a mirror cracked. Then another. The cracks spread like spiderwebs. Behind the mirror directly in front of her. A door. She stood, limping toward it, afraid to hope. She pressed her hand to the glass. It didn't resist, it broke. Not with a crash, but like mist. The mirror dissolved. She stepped through. She was back in the first room. The chair, the blood, the photographs, all of it. But now the photos had changed. They weren't of her. They were of her sister, at her desk, in her kitchen, sleeping in Riley's bed, with Liam. Riley gagged. No, no. The sound of a phone vibrating made her turn. A dusty old cell phone buzzed on the floor. She crawled toward it and picked it up. One new video message. She hit play. Her own face appeared on screen. The imposter, smiling. "Hi Riley," she said. "If you're seeing this, it means you made it to the end of the mirror maze. Good job." She laughed. "You're stubborn. That's one thing we still share." Behind her in the video, Riley saw Liam asleep, tangled in bedsheets, alive, oblivious. "You lost everything," the woman said. "But maybe I can be kinder than they were to me. I'll give you a choice." The screen, glitched, then showed. Two buttons. Stay, return. Another message popped up. "You can stay here, become one of them, or return and take back what was yours, but it will cost you." Riley stared at the screen. Her finger hovered. Then she touched return. The phone screen went black. The floor beneath her opened. She fell, down and down, screaming into blackness. Then, silence. Elsewhere. Riley's imposter stood in the bathroom, wiping steam from the mirror. She hummed a song from childhood, one Riley hadn't remembered in years. Behind her, the shower curtain moved. She didn't notice the water dripped. Then she turned. And saw Riley, bloodied, hollow-eyed, standing in the mirror, not reflected, but inside it. Before she could scream, a hand reached out from the mirror and grabbed her. Through the mirror, the woman in Riley's skin didn't scream. Right away. She couldn't. Something cold and wet clutched her throat from behind the mirror, not around her neck, but inside her, a grip that reached past muscle and bone, clenching something deeper. Her voice. Herself. Her scream got stuck. She clawed at the glass, but it was no longer solid. The mirror pulsed, liquid-like, swallowing her wrists, then elbows, then chest. The more she struggled, the more it pulled. On the other side, Riley watched, but it wasn't the Riley that had been dragged through blood and shadows. This Riley looked wrong, paler, her eyes were darker, her hair floated as if underwater. She looked like someone who hadn't blinked in hours, who had seen things, and behind that Riley, in the depths of the mirror, other faces moved, half-formed things, the forgotten ones, writhing behind the glass like fish with no eyes. Riley stepped forward and leaned her head to the side. "Funny," she whispered, her voice echoing like a scream in a canyon. "You always wanted to be me." The woman Riley's imposter shook her head violently, mouth gaping open in pure, soundless terror. She finally screamed. It was short, wet. Then the mirror snapped shut around her. Silence. Just Riley now, alone, on the wrong side of the mirror. Outside the mirror, the apartment was still. The mirror no longer reflected anything, just a dark sheet of glass. Dead and blank. But in the hallway, something had changed. The front door was open, wide, and the wind that crept in didn't smell like summer anymore. Smelled like rot. Riley moved. Inside the mirror world, she walked. The apartment looked the same, here but wrong. Like it had been abandoned decades ago. Her childhood photos had warped faces. Her bed was twisted, stretched, like it had melted. The door to her bedroom was gone, replaced by a wall smeared in handprints. Still, she walked. She was searching for something, or someone, maybe her real self, or what was left of it, because something inside her had shifted the moment she touched return. She wasn't just a victim now. She wasn't just Riley. She was something more and something less. As she turned the corner of the hallway, she heard it again, the whispering. But this time it wasn't cruel. It sounded pleading, soft voices echoing through the dark. Let us speak. Let us warn her. She doesn't know. Riley turned. On the wall beside her, dozens of mirrors began to ripple. Each held a face, not hers, others them. The ones who'd been replaced, forgotten, swallowed. And one of them, a boy, no older than 12, raised a trembling hand and mouthed, "She didn't just take your life, she took your place in time." Riley stumbled back, her mind reeling. What? Another mirror lit up, this time her mother, but not how she remembered. Her older, frailer, staring blankly ahead. She was in a hospital bed, monitors beeping, wires everywhere. "She's been with her," a voice said from the mirror. "Your imposter, the one in your skin. She's been visiting her, saying she's you, watching her die." Riley slammed her fist into the wall. The mirror cracked. The image wavered and vanished. "Why are you showing me this?" she shouted. The mirrors fell silent. Then one voice whispered, "Because there's still time to take it back, back in the real world." Liam woke to the sound of water running. It was late, nearly 2 a.m. He rubbed his face, confused. The bed next to him was cold. Riley, no answer. He got up, walking toward the bathroom. The shower was on. He opened the door. The steam hit him first, but then something sharper. The mirror was gone, only shards on the floor, and the woman standing in the shower wasn't Riley, not really. Her face almost looked like her, but not quite. Her eyes didn't move right. Her smile was wrong. "Hey babe," she said sweetly, stepping out naked and soaked, like nothing was off. Liam backed away. What happened to the mirror? The woman paused, her smile faltering for a split second. "It fell," she said. "I slipped. Stupid, huh?" Liam frowned. The feeling in his chest was icy, like something horrible was standing behind him. "You okay?" he asked. She blinked, then smiled again. "Of course, just a bad dream." But somewhere deep in the shadows behind her pupils, something moved in the mirror world. Riley stood before her door. Unlike the others, this one wasn't warped or bleeding or broken. It looked new, clean white paint, a brass knob, a single word carved across it. Before, she reached out and touched it. The doorknob was warm. She turned. It slowly, the door creaked open. What she saw inside made her knees buckle. It was her childhood bedroom, as it was 20 years ago. Posters on the walls, her toy rabbit on the bed, her favorite storybook open on the floor. A tiny girl, her younger self, sat in the corner, hugging her knees. Tears streaked her cheeks. She looked up, saw older Riley, and whispered, "Don't forget me again." The walls shivered. The light bulb above cracked. Riley stepped forward, unsure if she was dreaming or remembering. The girl grabbed her hand. "Promise me," she said. "Promise you won't let her steal me again." And for the first time, since this all began, Riley broke down. Not from fear, but guilt. She remembered now, the moment it started, the moment she let the imposter in. She was 10. Her mum had gone away for a few days after a fight with Dad. Riley had sat in her bed, crying, cold, angry, whispering to the mirror, "I don't want to be me anymore. I wish I could be someone else, anyone else." And in the mirror, something had moved. A girl had answered. She'd promised to help, to take the pain away, to swap places. Riley had agreed, even forgot she had, until now. Riley knelt before her younger self, took her face in her hands. "I'm sorry, I didn't know what I was letting in." The girl smiled, a little, then pointed at the mirror in the corner of the room. "You can still fix it, but once you leave, you can't come back, and she won't go easily." Riley nodded. "I'm not afraid anymore." And as she stood to face the mirror, her reflection smiled first. Back in the real world, the imposter stirred in her sleep. Her skin itched. She turned in bed, sweating. Liam beside her, restless. Suddenly crack. The bedroom mirror, untouched, split down the middle. A jagged line ran straight through the reflection of her face, and from inside the glass, A hand pushed forward. Then another. Then Riley stepped out, but not quietly, not gently. She burst from the mirror like it was paper, dragging with her the rage of every soul the imposter had ever erased. The imposter screamed and fell backward, crawling away. "You shouldn't be here," she shrieked. Riley's eyes were black, not empty but full, with pain, with memory, with justice. "You made a deal," Riley said coldly, "but you forgot one thing." She grabbed the woman by the throat and whispered, "I remember everything now." Borrowed faces, stolen time. The woman wore Riley's face like a mask, but now it cracked. Under the pressure of Riley's grip, her borrowed skin trembled. Her voice warped into something higher, sharp as something not human. The smile she had worn like armor for years collapsed into raw terror. "Let go." The imposter choked. Riley didn't. "You don't get to beg," she whispered. They crashed backward into the shattered mirror, but this time it didn't pull them in. The glass had turned to ash. The mirror was dead, burned out from Riley's return. The imposter thrashed. She was fast. She kicked Riley off and scrambled across the room like an insect, shrieking in short glitching gasps. Liam bolted upright in bed, eyes wide. "Riley, what the hell? What is going on?" But he didn't know which one was Riley. The imposter crawled to him, her voice sweet and broken and desperate. "Baybits, meets me. She's crazy. She broke into the house. She's pretending to be me." Riley rose slowly. Her hands bled from the mirror cuts, but she didn't notice. She didn't even blink, because this moment was the one she had waited for since the night she made the wish in the mirror, the night she gave herself away. Liam looked between them. To Riley's, one shaking, one silent. Both familiar, but the one in front of him, his Riley, she always smelled like lavender and mint. She always laughed with her head tilted a little to the right. She always double-checked the locks before bed. This one didn't. Not tonight. And the way her eyes jittered under the surface, like something else was watching from behind. He stepped back. "Whoever you are, you need to leave." The imposter blinked. Her lips twitched. "No," she said. "No, no, no. I earned this. I made her better. You think she could have handled this life?" She stood, eyes now fully black. "You think anyone ever loved her before me?" The bedroom light shattered overhead. Glass rained. The walls groaned. And suddenly it wasn't just the room that was shifting, it was time. The imposter screamed, and from her mouth came 1,000 voices. Children, women, old men, all lost, all echoing. The air rippled like heat. Liam staggered back and hit the dresser. Blood trickled down his temple. His mind tried to push away what his eyes were seeing. Riley stepped between him and the thing wearing her face. "You don't belong here," she said. "I belong more than you." The imposter snarled. "You left. You begged for someone to take your place." "I did. You tricked me. You asked for me." The wind that blew from the shattered mirror swirled now around the imposter's feet. It was pulling her backward, not Riley's doing. The mirror world was closing. The price had been paid. Time was reclaiming its balance. The imposter screamed louder now, not with rage but fear. Her body glitched, stuttering between Riley's face and flashes of others, men, women, children, faces she had worn, lives she had stolen. "Help me," she shrieked at Liam. "Please, you know me, you love me, let her take me." Liam looked at Riley, the real one. She was crying now, but it wasn't weakness, it was grief, for the years lost, for the pain she had caused, indirectly by being too broken to say no. When the mirror offered relief, Liam stepped to her side. Without hesitation, he didn't need proof. He just knew. The imposter shrieked so loudly the window cracked behind her. Then she was gone, pulled back into the mirror dimension, and for a second, it was over. Silence. Stillness. Then the apartment groaned and bent. The mirror wasn't done, because it wasn't just the imposter who had broken the rules. Riley had escaped it, and the mirror wanted her back. The walls peeled inward like wet paper. The floor cracked. Shadows reached from corners like hungry hands. "Run," Riley yelled, grabbing Liam's hand. They ran, down the hall, through the apartment that now looked half real, half rotten. Photographs melted on the walls, doors pulsed. Voices cried from the cracks in the floor. "Don't stop," she shouted. The front door loomed ahead, but behind it, instead of the hallway, was her childhood home. No escape, not yet. The mirror wasn't letting go. Riley skidded to a halt, heart pounding. The hallway twisted. A voice from the wall whispered, "You still owe a piece." She turned. Behind her, the imposter was back, but now she was crawling, barely holding form. Her eyes were gone. Her face rippled like a puddle in a storm. "I'm not leaving without something," it hissed. "You promised." Riley took a shaky breath. She looked at Liam, then back at the mirror thing, and then she did something no one expected. She stepped forward and held out her hand. "What are you doing?" Liam shouted. Riley didn't answer. She just stared at the creature she once let in. Long ago, as a child crying in the dark. "You want something? Fine," she said. "Take what you gave me." She reached into her own chest and pulled something out, a small, glowing thread. Memory. The wish. The piece of her that had whispered, "Take my place." She held it out. The imposter's body shook, twitched, then slowly took it. The second she touched it, she screamed. Not in pain, in relief. The mirror burst. The mirror burst open behind her, and she was gone. For real. Forever. This time, the house didn't collapse. It exhaled. The tension in the walls faded. The glass reassembled. Itself time righted. The hallway returned. The front door was back. Riley turned to Liam. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "For what?" he asked. "For not being me for so long." He reached out and held her close. "You're you now," he said. "That's all that matters." They moved out the next day. New place, no mirrors, not for a while. But Riley did one last thing before they left. She walked to the mirror in her old bedroom, the one where she'd made the wish as a child, and she whispered, "I don't want to be anyone else anymore. Just me, just me." And for a brief moment, the mirror flickered, not with light, but approval, then dimmed. 2 weeks later, Liam woke in the night. The apartment was quiet. He reached over. Riley wasn't there. He sat up, heart quickening. "Riley." No answer. He walked down the hall, into the bathroom. The mirror was foggy from steam, and written in the condensation were 5 words. "You kept your promise." Finally, he blinked. The writing faded. He turned. Dan Riley stood there, smiling this time. No doubt, no flicker. Just her. The blood never left the glass for 2 whole weeks. Everything stayed calm. To calm. Riley and Liam moved into a smaller place on the other side of town. No shared walls, no creaking pipes, no mirrors. They covered every reflective surface, brushed their teeth with the lights off, refused to say anything that even sounded like a wish. Riley tried to pretend she was okay. She wasn single quotes, T. Not really. Every night, she heard something whispering behind the drywall. Every time she blinked too long, she saw her own reflection smile before she did. And sometimes, when Liam said her name too softly in the dark, she had to fight the urge to ask, "Which Riley are you looking for?" On the 15th day of peace, Riley got a call from her aunt, the one she hadn't seen since her mother's funeral. "Riley," the old voice trembled. "You need to come home now." "Why?" she asked, instantly on guard. "The house. Your grandfather's house. It's waking up again." The phone buzzed with static. Then cut. She didn't want to go, she told herself. She was done. She had survived. One buried the monster, but something in her stomach turned cold and familiar. Not feared obligation. It wasn't over. Not yet. Liam insisted on going with her, no matter how much she protested. And deep down, she was grateful. She didn't want to face that place alone. They drove for hours through long stretches of forest until the trees gave way to the old family home, a 2-story farmhouse that looked like it had been frozen in rot. The porch sagged. Every window was boarded shut from the inside. The mailbox still had her grandfather's name burned into it, and a smear of red across the side. Not paint, something thicker. Her aunt was waiting in a rocking chair on the porch, hair white, eyes wild, fingers trembling. "You shouldn't have broken the mirror," she said before Riley even stepped out of the car. "I didn't break it," Riley replied. "It broke itself." "No, it cracked because you survived, and now it wants the rest." Liam glanced at Riley, confused. What is she talking about? The aunt stood slowly, opened the front door, and nodded toward the staircase inside. "It's time you knew the truth about your mother." Inside, the house was even darker than she remembered. Dust clung to every surface like a second skin. The mirrors were gone, all of them, except one, the one in the attic. Her grandfather's mirror, the first one, the one no one was ever allowed to touch, the one her mother stood in front of the night she took a knife to her own throat. Her aunt led them up the creaking steps, Every floorboard screamed like a warning. The air got heavier with each step, like wading into something deep and unseen. At the top of the stairs was the attic door. It opened on its own. Taut cold wind rushed out, but the windows were shut tight. Inside, under a dusty sheet, stood the mirror, massive, covered in carvings along its golden frame, symbols Riley didn't recognize. Her aunt spoke. Your great-grandfather found it in a chapel burned during the war. He brought it home thinking it was art. He was wrong. Riley stepped closer. Every carving was a face, screaming, trapped, some of them familiar. This mirror doesn't just reflect, her aunt whispered. It feeds on desire, on grief, on weakness. It offered you a way out, didn't it? Riley nodded. The aunt sighed, like this was all a pattern. It did the same to your mother. Promised her dead sister back. Promised your grandfather strength. It always gives, until it decides to take. Liam swallowed hard. Then why keep it? Because breaking it unleashes them all. She pulled back the sheet. The mirror was whole, but it didn't reflect them. It reflected the past. Riley stepped forward, unable to stop herself. Inside the glass, she saw her mother, not as she remembered, but younger, standing in front of the mirror, clutching a photograph. She was crying. I just want her back. The younger version of her mother whispered. Behind her, something reached out of the mirror. Something with her sister's voice. Then blood. A lot of it. Riley stumbled backward. What the hell is this? Her aunt's voice trembled. It shows the moment they traded pieces of their soul. Some survive, most don't. But you did, Riley. Somehow, you survived the wish. The mirror shimmered again. Now it showed Riley 10 years old, standing in front of it, in her old bedroom. She was whispering, I don't want to feel anything anymore. I want someone else to be me. The reflection twisted, and out stepped her imposter. Same smile, same innocence, but not her. Then, the real Riley disappeared in the glass. She remembered none of this until now. That's when you were taken. Her aunt said softly. You weren't just possessed. You were swapped. The mirror gave you what you asked, but it kept the real you locked inside. So how am I back? Riley whispered. Her aunt turned to her with dread in her eyes. Because it's not done. It never lets you go without wanting something worse. That's when the mirror cracked. Just once, then twice, then the whole surface shattered, inward like a void, swallowing glass. And from the dark inside it, something stepped out. Not her imposter, not her mother, not even the ghost of her grandfather. Something older. Taller. Its skin looked like shattered mirror shards held together by veins of gold. No face, just a constantly shifting surface of screaming reflections. The original occupant of the mirror, the one who feeds. It didn't speak in words, just feeling rage, hunger, betrayal. It had given Riley her wish, and now it wanted the final payment. Liam pulled Riley back. We have to go now. But the attic door slammed shut. The lights went black. The mirror being stepped forward. With each footfall, the air screamed like bending metal. Riley turned to her aunt. Can it be destroyed? Her aunt shook her head. Not unless someone takes its place inside. Silence. Liam whispered. No. Don't even think about it. Riley stared at the being. The way it flickered between faces she once wore. The way it wore her pain. Like a crown. Then she looked down, and saw her childhood photo lying near the frame, burned at the edges. A memory never returned, and she knew. I'll do it, Riley said. Liam grabbed her arm. No, you won't. But she turned to him, eyes calm. I survived it once. Maybe that's the point. Maybe that's why it's been waiting. It doesn't want another sacrifice. It wants its original host. She stepped toward the mirror being dotted, hesitated, curious. Then she did something impossible. She touched it, and for a brief moment her body flickered, between now and then, between mother and daughter, between 10 years ago, and now, and she felt everything, every soul the mirror had taken, every scream, every deal, every broken person who'd stood in front of it, begging. She whispered one word, enough. Light exploded from her chest. The being screamed. Its mirrored body cracked, then crumbled, piece by piece. The attic went silent. The mirror's surface reassembled, but this time it was smooth, black still, and Riley was gone. Liam ran to the frame, screamed her name. Nothing. No sound, no whisper. Then a flicker. In the mirror, Riley. Standing on the other side, smiling, but she didn't speak. She just mouthed the words. I closed it. It's done. then disappeared into the dark. Behind him, her aunt wept. Liam turned to her. She said, "It's done." The old woman smiled faintly through tears. "I believe her." The attic door creaked open. The wind stopped. The house went quiet. That night, Liam stayed up staring at the covered mirror in their new apartment. He didn't cry. Not yet. Not until he saw something appear in the frost of the glass. A message. One he'd remember for the rest of his life. One last part remains. Some reflections never fade. Liam never touched another mirror. Not after Riley disappeared. He kept them all covered in cloth. Even his phone screen stayed dimmed. He shaved in the dark, brushed his teeth without looking. Months passed like this, and cracked. Every now and then, in places where his reflection should be, he'd see something else. A flicker, a glimmer. Riley. But only for a second. Then she'd vanish again. He told himself it was just grief. Until the night of the funeral. Not Riley's, her aunt's. The old woman passed in her sleep, her face frozen, in what looked like relief. Like she knew her part was over. Liam stood alone in the back pew of the near-empty chapel, clutching a sealed envelope addressed in shaky handwriting. To Liam from Margaret Holloway, for when the mirror whispers again inside. A single Polaroid photo, taken decades ago. It showed Riley's mother, young, terrified, standing beside the same mirror Riley had entered, only now someone else was inside it. Margaret had written on the back, "If you're reading this, the mirror has not let go, and Riley may not be the last." That night, back at the apartment, Liam sat in the dark holding the picture in one hand, and staring at the mirror in the hallway he had tried so hard to ignore. Something cold moved through the air. Then came the whisper, just one, "Help." It wasn't Riley's voice, it was a child. He uncovered the mirror. No reflection, only a dimly lit hallway. Old wallpaper peeling from the sides, dusty floor, flickering lights, a place he didn't recognize. Then a face appeared, a boy, maybe 10 years old, crying, reaching toward him through the glass. "Please, I don't belong here." Liam's breath caught. Behind the boy stood others, dozens, all with pale, empty eyes, souls trapped, some young, some old. One looked like Riley's mother. The boy pressed his hand to the glass, and that's when Liam saw it. A flash. Riley, standing behind them all. She mouthed something. He leaned closer. "Don't trust him." The boy screamed suddenly. His voice changed, deeper, cruel. "Let me out." The mirror began to ripple. Liam stumbled back. The cloth slipped from his hand, but the mirror stayed active, as if awake now. The surface pushed outward, hands, fingers. A face forming under the glass, Riley's, but something was off. The smile too wide, the eyes wrong. And behind it, dozens of souls watching, still silent, waiting. Then crack. The glass split down the center, and a voice whispered, "One wish remains." He wanted to run. To leave it, smash it, burn it, but something inside him stopped him. A memory, the day Riley gave herself to save them all, the day she chose to lock the mirror, and herself, from the world. And now the mirror was offering a trade. Again. Always a trade. The child's voice came back, soft this time. "Please, I don't want to be here anymore. Just touch the glass, please." Liam stared, sweat on his brow, tears in his eyes. "Where's Riley?" he whispered. The boy blinked. "I don't know." A lie. He could feel it. Then Riley appeared again. Just for a second her hand pressed to the other side, eyes begging him not to move. She wasn't speaking anymore, just weeping. That was her. Held. Watching while the mirror tried to fool others. He stepped back. "I'm not making a wish," Liam said. Aloud. "No deals, no trades." The mirror trembled. Cracks spread faster. "You owe us." The voices overlapped now. Children, women, men. Some sounded like Riley, some like the boy. One whispered in Liam's own voice, "You left her behind." Liam fell to his knees, covered his ears, screamed, "What do you want from me?" Then silence, total. Empty, until one soft voice said, "Finish it." The photo from Margaret fell from his hand. It landed face up on the floor, and that's when he saw something new, a symbol, hidden in the corner of the mirror frame in the picture. He looked up at the mirror in front of him. Same carving, a circle of thorns, inside a triangle, and within it, an eye. He understood. The mirror wasn't just a curse, it was a prison, an engine that needed fuel. Wishes were just bait. The souls it trapped powered something older, something buried in the mirrors. call, but maybe, just maybe, it could be starved. Liam picked up the nearest object, a heavy iron candle holder, and took a step forward. He heard the mirror scream, dozens of voices howling. The fake Riley inside begged him, "Don't, you'll kill us all." He raised the iron, "You already did," and swung. The impact shattered the surface. Not like before, not into reflections, or shadow or flickers. It collapsed the entire structure inward, like sucking the room into a void. Then light, blinding, unnatural, searing light, and then silence. The apartment walls stopped shaking. The mirror lay in pieces, real pieces. Just glass, no movement, no faces. Liam collapsed, gasping. His ears rang, his hands bled from the shards. But he felt something new, stillness, pure and complete. Until he heard a knock, soft, 3 times. From the hallway, he opened the door. Slowly, no one was there, just an envelope on the floor. No stamp, no name. Inside, one Polaroid, a new one, of Riley, alive, sitting on a park bench, smiling, looking free. And behind her, no mirror, just sky. There was a note on the back, written in her handwriting. "Thank you. I didn't want to be remembered as someone who disappeared. Now I can just be. No more reflections, no more wishes, just life." Liam stared at it for a long time. He didn't know if she was real, if it was heaven, or a trick, or a reward. But he knew one thing: the mirror was gone, and so was the hunger it carried. 1 month later, he finally stood in front of a mirror again, looked into his reflection. And for the first time, it looked back. Only him, just him. Nothing behind, nothing whispering, only one voice in his mind. "No, reallys, some reflections aren't meant to be seen, some are meant to be left behind." The end.